Strategically located in the heart of Southern Africa, it is easy to see why Zambia, being one of the world's fastest growing economies for the past 10 years, has been dubbed as Southern Africa's breadbasket. Being part of the common market for East and Southern Africa, COMESA, Zambia is uniquely positioned. Currently, the COMESA is made up of 19 countries with a total population of over 470 million people and an annual import bill of around $170 billion and an export bill of $112 billion.
The primary attraction for Zambia is one, of course, is a politically stable country. The last few years, Zambia has been also growing, has had stable economic growth, apart from the recent past when there's been some challenges, mostly because of the developments in the global commodity environment, because Zambia has got a heavy dependence on copper. And then democratically, there have been several transitions of government in Zambia, and all of that has been done in a stable fashion.
Zambia has a very large competitive advantage. Zambia is a land-linked country, which is in the center of so many other countries. We've got 8 countries on our borders alone, not to mention COMESA and SADC, which brings it to 26 countries. So when you're dealing with Zambia, you're not dealing with just Zambia population alone. You're dealing with Zambia and all these other countries that it deals with. So you've got this market of 26 countries around you that you are able to access by coming to Zambia. So you have a larger market than just Zambia alone.
Zambia is projected to be one of the largest exporters of poultry products, given that Zambia increases production capacity. With an affordable labor force of 7 million people, of which more than 85% is already active in agriculture, the Zambian poultry industry is poised to grow exponentially. Annually, $80 million is invested in the poultry sector. As a result, Zambian annual poultry production stands at slightly over 81 million kgs of broiler meat and 1 billion eggs, while total national feed production stands at 320,000 tons.
So we worked together with the Poultry Association of Zambia and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands based in Harare, which also represents Zambia. And we were looking at how we could improve the growth of the poultry sector here and looking at common interests. But then we found out that there wasn't that much information about what the real interests were of Zambian companies to look for international investment, and vice versa. We didn't really know exactly what the Dutch companies would be interested in to invest in. So we felt that doing this market study would give us a very concrete answer to what the investment opportunities were, but also it would give us an opportunity to provide better business links, being well informed on what kind of matches we could make between the companies. The main findings were that there were several investment opportunities in the sector, including investments in equipment, like feed manufacturing equipment, hatchery equipment, but also processing equipment. We also looked at opportunities in the drugs and vaccines. There was a lot of opportunities to improve the services provided there, and also on feed additives.
The market study, conducted by AgriProFocus in partnership with the Embassy of the Netherlands and the Poultry Association of Zambia, concluded that there are 5 key areas in the poultry industry that businesses could invest in. 1. Poultry house equipment. 2. Hatching equipment. 3. Poultry feed additives and premixes. 4. Poultry drugs and vaccines. 5. Poultry expertise.
We have a serious energy crisis here. There's not enough electricity. So if there are Dutch companies that, let's say, are involved with solar, and especially solar relating to poultry, there are enormous opportunities here, I think. At the moment, a lot of the poultry is being kept by small-scale farmers. So I think it would be nice if we can uplift those type of farmers to a higher level, so that they either increase the number of birds they keep or the number of layers they keep. And I think when that comes, there are issues like maybe on housing, ventilation, things like that, because everything is done rather crude here, not as sophisticated as in the Netherlands, where you have climate-controlled houses and the lighting and all these kind of things. We don't have that, and I think in these areas the Dutch have a lot of expertise, and I think that expertise they can apply here in Zambia.
That is where we need the investors to come in, because now we find that most Zambians, they're still doing that kind of tradition way of keeping doing poultry. Technology has improved in terms of productivity and the rest. Okay, that's why we need to partner with other foreign investors, get into a joint venture with already Zambians who are already running, or those who would come in with new technology in terms of taking care of the chickens, the feedstock, and all those things, to increase productivity. Only when you increase productivity that you'll be able to compete favorably.
It is important to note that both the government of the Republic of Zambia and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands have been supporting the process of agricultural transformation and demonstrated strong commitment to agriculture through infrastructure and policy development. Here are a few local poultry farmers that took part in the poultry market study.
So Medihill is an agribusiness that's focused on the poultry sector. We focus mostly on two types of birds. There is the broiler chicken, which is the most common type of chicken on the Zambian market, and the indigenous chicken, also called village chicken, which is one type of poultry that's experiencing a lot of demand. So those are sort of like our two focus areas, and that's where we're looking to grow and gain scale. So one thing about the poultry sector is it's either you go in big or you don't go in at all. And the meaning behind this is basically for you to access the market, which is the retail outlets like Pick and Pay, Spar, ShopRite, you need to be able to process your products. And at the moment, there are very few players accessing this wide market, and a lot of these players are unable to meet the demand.
The Copperbill chickens basically started 3 years ago. The owners of this business, they engaged in, instead of going into broilers on the ground, they engaged into chickens into cages, which is a very modern system for Africa, very modern system for Zambia. We want to first go to around 45 to 47,000 a week, and then double up to around about 80,000 to 100,000, and then we would like to see the biggest picture is 1 million birds a month. Our expansion program would be development of value-added products, value-added sausages, Viennas, marinated product ranges, a lot of product ranges that are coming from Lusaka. We can busy do it with our processing plant. We have, at the present moment, we have a big smoker that we brought in, that we can smoke chickens. It's a big commodity. We're looking at Hungarian sausages. So it's a massive opportunity. Basically, we haven't got enough chicken at the present moment for our market. And the biggest thing is, for the future of this business, is expansion program, and to complete the project of the last 3 sites is the most of utmost importance, to get those 3 sites up and running, and that Copperbill chickens can slaughter 5 days a week instead of 2 and 3 days a week.
Zambia College of Agriculture actually owns a feed plant. It's quite a huge equipment out there with the capacity of over 72,000 tons per day that we are able to produce if it was to be in full capacity. But for some time now it has been lying idle. Why? Because of the fact that to recapitalize it has become quite a challenge to us as a college. So that equipment is actually it's a gold lying idle. You can dig gold out of it. It is able to supply feeds to the central region. Maybe the whole central, of course Zambia is able to do that, and even to our neighbors. If we are able to just put 1 or 2 things in place. The plant, of course, was established to supply feeds to farmers around this place, in terms of poultry feeds, dairy feeds, pig feeds, and so on and so forth. And also to supply feeds for the college beds that we are producing.
What is there now is to have a hatchery, some hatcheries. If we can expand with the hatcheries, because our hatchery is only one and it is used even by other people. It's only not only us. We have some clients who are coming from as far as Sinazongwe, Monze, coming to our place, bring some eggs. and we are charging them 2 kwacha per day because of this load shedding. So that we can also, as you can see now, right up now we don't have power, but we are running the standby genset.
We are a small-scale farm whose main focus is on conservation farming, and our biggest objective is to tackle the issue of hunger by redefining distribution of food. You know, we're basically made up of a team of young minds that want to implement conservation farming and simple technologies to come up with solutions that we as a continent, as a country, are currently facing.
The Dutch government has got a number of instruments that Zambia is eligible for. One of them, for example, is the Sustainable Entrepreneurship Fund and Food Security Fund. And through that grant, applicants can get 50% of the cost, total investment cost of the project as a grant. So basically, you know, this can go up to €1 million, €2 million they can get as a grant, and then they source the other amounts of money. And that money can be used for projects that impact food security, that increase food security, primarily in agriculture. So there's some business instruments that, you know, that are available. But even, for example, through infrastructure development, you know, at the moment the Netherlands government is sponsoring, for example, the training of Zambian road contractors in asphalt road development. Now, when you have better infrastructure, it basically means that you can move your inputs and your outputs much more easily. So this has a beneficial and positive effect on the growth of the agriculture sector. So there are a number of ways, through the instruments that are available for Zambia, and also through trade and investment promotion. I mean, through the two, you can actually have a positive effect on agricultural growth.
No, I think the opportunities are here. And I've said it before also, we had once a Dutch trade delegation here, and Dutch companies came here, and I told them, you must come. Africa is a continent of opportunities, but don't be too scared to take risks. You need to take risks, and the Dutch, that's how Holland became big, because the Dutch used to take risks.